Yes. So I'm starting with the introduction. The Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir consists of Kashmir Valley, Jammu, Ladakh region. Nowadays, that has been little, different because Jammu and Kashmir is now one part and Ladakh is different union territory. But I just wanted to, kind of, because my presentation is on ancient, so I just wanted to contribute with that. The Ladakh region, the Karakoram, Zanskar, Nunkun, and Nanga Parvat are among the important mountain ranges in the region. Other ranges include Shivalik, Pir Panjal, and its offshoot, including Doda, Punch, Rajouri districts. Parts of Western Himalayas also lies in the region. The physical boundary of J&K stretches from the East River of Indus to Jammu and west to the river Ravi. It can be divided into five subdivisions. I'm just talking about the geography. I think the student should know first the geography and then we can connect it with the archaeology and the new findings in Jammu. So the five subdivisions are Shivalik, Punch and Jammu, um, Shivalik Zone and Sub-Himalaya, Pir Panjal Range, Valley of Kashmir, and main Himalayan mass. And it includes Gilgit and Hanza, which is in the other, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that is on the other side. And the Zanskar range, which lies in the north of Himalayas, is divided from the main Himalayas by Stord and Strap Valley. The Zanskar range geographically divides the Zanskar region from Ladakh, and Shivaliks are the youngest and the most newly formed range that constitute the Himalayan chain. The Pir Panjal range lies on the south of Himalayas, and where I'm staying right now is the foothills of Pir Panjal range. This area is under the foothills of um, Pir Panjal range. So the Himalayas divide the Kashmir Valley from Ladakh, while the Pir Panjal range, which includes the valley from the west and the south, separates it from the Great Plains of northern India. Kashmir proper is an irregular and oval 84 miles long. If you can see, this part of you can see oval part is the Valley of Kashmir, and in Rajtarangani, which is written, which is a history of Kashmir written by Kalhan in 10th century, explains that the valley of Kashmir was formerly a lake and was full of water. According to Hindu mythology, the lake was drained by the great sage Rishi Kashyap, son of Marichi, who was son of Brahma by cutting the gaps in the hills of Baramulla. Why I've taken this, because my lecture, which is totally on Baramulla district, but I have taken important sites of Buddhist sites of Kashmir also. But Baramulla is a district which is very important from the Buddhist point of view, because we have 3-4 sites which are very important, and the new exploration which was done 4 years back is also in Baramulla district. So Nilmat Puran states that the Kashmir was lake and Lord Vishnu took Vara avatar, the boar incarnation basically, and drained it by making a breach with the molar. The town of Baramulla, actually Varamulla, is thus named after the boar incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So, when we talk about Buddhism in Kashmir or history of Buddhism, the story of introduction of Buddhism to Kashmir Valley is very, very fascinating. You know that, and we also know that the most important result of the Buddhist Council was, which was convened under the royal patronage of Mauryan King Ashok, was the dispatch of missionaries to different countries of the world for propagation of Buddhism. And Ashokan Rock Edict to testify that missionaries were sent to far off countries. The Buddhist accounts as well as Kashmiri chronicle like the Nilmat Puran, Avdan Kalpalata of Kshimendra, and Raj Tarangini, the well-known Kashmiri chronicle, written by Kalhan, narrate a vivid encounter of the indigenous tribe called Nag, because at that time Jammu was under the Nagas. Kashmir was under the Nagas, I mean Jammu and Kashmir both. Buddhist monk Majhantika, I mean they have encounters with the monk who was given responsibility for the propagation of Buddhism in Himalayan region. So the Mahavamsa also explains that Mogali Puttatisather, chairman of the third Buddhist council and a religious advisor of Emperor Ashoka, was sent to Kashmir region, or Kashmir Gandhar region basically, for the propagation of Buddhism, and he succeeded his mission after showing the various feats of magical power. The Ashokavadan, or legend of Ashoka, affirms that the Emperor Ashoka built 84,000 or Dharmarajikas in Kashmir over the corporeal relics of Buddha. The fact is further supported by Sri Lankan chronicle Mahavams, which state that Emperor Ashoka constructed 84,000 stupas in Kashmir. Divya Avdan too narrates that Ashoka had wished to build 84,000 stupas in Kashmir. Here it seems that the number of 8,000 stupas might be, or Chaityas Vihara might be a symbolic figure, or maybe he has built 84,000 stupas. Uh, uh, I mean, we have seen even nowadays, and if you see, if I go to in Jammu, there's an example of 84,000, 33 crores of devtas are placed in one place. So there's possibility that in Kashmir also these small votive stupas or symbolic stupas might have been placed or might have been built there. So, but still we find very big stupas also, and there are so many votive stupas are also found in this region. So nevertheless, it is beyond doubt that Emperor Ashoka got number of stupas, chaityas and viharas built in Kashmir. Furthermore, a large number of ancient Buddhist heritage sites are still extant in Kashmir. The famous Buddhist sites are situated at Paraspora, which is Parihaspura, Panrethan, Harvan, Ushkur, Malangpura, Gilgit, and so on. So I will just talk on that. I will show some pictures also. These are excavated heritage sites, and which is in Baramulla district. This is Paraspora Buddhist site, which is also nowadays Paraspora is known as Paraspora, but it was known as Parihaspur. And the town of Baramulla is located either the bank of River Jhelum, being the gateway of Kashmir Valley. Baramulla was halted station because the whosoever traveled through Baramulla, and it was the first station for any visitor during the visit of Kashmir Valley. Number of prominent visitors have traveled to Baramulla, including the famous Chinese traveler Hun Sen. The district is dotted with the number of sites of archaeological and historical importance, of which three important sites are, and our newly explored site is also added in this. Number one is Paraspora. Paraspora was capital of King Lalitaditya. The upland, if you see that this is the site, and you can see the upland is studded with the heap of ruins, of which only few have been excavated, and the plateau is studded with the heap of ruins. I mean, we can find so many unfinished rocks laying on the ground, but it is still not excavated, or it is just um, uh, lying on the ground. Among these, the most important group of three Buddhist structures is the Chankuna Stupa. This is the Chankuna Stupa, you can see, and uh, this uh, this is on the other side. I mean, this is a big site, Buddhist site, and you can see just on the left side of Chankuna Stupa, you will find these cells which are quadrilateral and having 26 cells with square courtyard, which originally covered with stone flags, some of which are still extant. The monastery was burned down by Harsha under the false impression that the pretender Uchala has taken shelter in it. Parihaspura superstructure has now totally vanished, leaving behind a huge mass of scorched boulders which completely covered top of the base. It was constructed with enormous size of furnished blocks of limestone. The, there is large, massive blocks in the middle of this debris, which has a round hole in the middle and which is 5 feet deep. It might be holding a big, uh, sculpture or Buddha's sculpture. You can find that big block of the uh, stone can hold a big size of sculpture. So the third structure next to the monastery on the south side is Chaitya. It was constructed with giant blocks of limestone. The maximum stupas which are built in Kashmir, the stones are used are limestones. This is another in the same district, Baramulla district, and this is known as Kanishpura. Kanishpura is named after the king Kanishk, and when you enter the valley, Hun Sen also wrote that he spent on first night when he entered the valley, he spent his first night at one of the monastery here. According to him, the reigning king was very hospitable and had welcomed him by sending his own brother and mother with the chariot and horse to escort him to the capital. The monastery and the temple which Hun Sen saw and Kalhan mentioned are now in ruins. This was the monastery, and it is, however, similar to that of Great Stupa Parihaspura, but Parihaspura is a big uh, site. This is little smaller than the Parihaspura, and therefore there can be a little doubt that it is the same structure, which is Rashtrani explains, because Lalita Ditya was known as builder of Kashmir. So he built so many stupas and chaityas and temples, in Kashmir. So um, because Lalita Aditya built this in the middle of the 8th century and Hun Sen stayed here in 6th century, but still uh, Raj Tarangni further testifies that it was built over the older structure of nearly the same type. So this structure may have belonged to Kushan site or Kushan times, because it was built by uh, or rebuilt by King Lalitaditya in 8th century. The entire wall, if you see the side, the entire wall is embellished with the terracotta, having the image of colossal Buddha with other figures which are of Gandhar style. 11 terracotta heads are found, and fragmented limbs of images that were found from the site are now displayed in SPS Sri Pratap Singh Museum, Srinagar. The another site is Harvan Monastery, which is very important from the heritage point of view. Uh, Many historians have opinion that, I mean, even I think that the fourth Buddhist council took place in Harvan, but I don't believe in Harvan. I believe that it was uh, convened in Kashmir. The name of the site was Kundalvan Vihar. The council was called up by Kanishk himself between the first century. Uh, it was first, second century in between. And the book Ancient Monuments of Kashmir by R.C. Kak writes, while digging under the foundation, a copper coin of Turamana and white Hun ruler who flourished in about 5th century was discovered. From the piece of evidence, it was referred that and also the Rubal stupa, a very different type of stupa is found there, that was made of little small rubbles of stone. So rubbles or stone could not be possible earlier than 5th century, so it might be considered later date. So it cannot be the site for Fort Buddhist Council because it was later site. These are the pictures of Harvan Monastery, and there's also a stupa and there's also a water tank there. So according to R.C. Karp, the place of the even the tiles were found there, that the dates of the tiles is 3rd century. I mean, according to R.C. Karp, it might have been a little later also, but many scholars disagree with the opinion because about the Fourth Buddhist Council, because the date structure and the tile date are later, and Buddhist council was held in 1st century. So the importance of the council is recognized by the fact that they represent an attempt to make peace and reconcile the difference between the sects which were present at that time. I think at that time there were 18 sects which were present, and it is suggested that about 500 monks met at Harvan. I mean, it was suggested, but I disagree with that uh, because we have done exploration again 4 years back, and we have found another site for that, but I haven't published it, and I have to work more on that. And I can give lecture again if Professor Anura Maratanga will invite me, so I will uh, present only on venue of Fourth Buddhist Council. So it further leads to the development of spread of Mahayana doctrine. As a result, uh, and through Kashmir, the influence of Buddhism spread to Tibet, China, and then Ladakh. But if you see the size, I mean, this is the monastery, and if you see the size of the monastery, it cannot accommodate 500 monks. And also, I have done exploration on the venue of the Fort Buddhist Council. I found another place in Gorais Valley which can be a place of meeting of Fort Buddhist Council. So I can't explain it because it will take so much of time. So I will go to the new exploration. Yes, this is newly discovered Buddhist heritage site. Zehenpura is a very, very small village in Baramulla district. Again, Baramulla, because that was a meeting point of, or that was entering point of Kashmir Valley. So I'm not going to the details. During my exploration, what I found, there are 3 mounds. 2 mounds were on the right bank of the river Jhelum, and one was on the left bank. Presumably, all these 3 mounds are Buddhist stupa, chaitya, or vihara, dating to pre-Kushan period. These 3 mounds could represent either 3 stupas, 1 stupa with chaitya, or 1 stupa, 1 chaitya, or 1 vihara. So if you can see that on the pictures, the stone structure of the first stupa is visible. An enormous heap of undressed large-sized stone lies on the sides of mound. The upper visible stone is about 2 feet high and about 3 feet long, while a visible upper tier is about 2 feet high and about 8 feet long. So a big block used are blocks used to make this structure, and which is unfinished limestone. This structure looks like to have been constructed in 2 or 3 tiers. I mean, if you see or visit there, you can see that this stupa might have been, um, or Parihaspura or Paraspura might have been replica of the stupa, because this might have been a small stupa, but the shape and the size, shape is two-tier you can see on the outside the mounds. The second mound is very close to the first one. The stone used here are two made up of limestone and very big, having a big size. These stones are same as unfinished big blocks used in the first one. It also looks like stupa. I found an inscribed stone which could contain an inscription about the stupa, but it has been partially visible. It has not yet been deciphered. You can see the picture, the fourth picture. Um, the excavation were carried out on the site in early 1920s and reported in the Archaeological Survey of India in 1925 and 26. Excavation of one of three mounds at Zehinpura has been partially carried out by R.C. Karp, and few copper coins and large and small pottery pieces have also been found. But no report has been published about the excavation, because he was about, I wanted to work on that, so I was curious to know that what happened and what other things has been found, but I didn't found any published work on this. So a recent exploration of the site was done by me, obviously, and after the 90 years of gap. I also found some pottery pieces from the site because of disturbance in the state from last 25 years or so on exploration. So no exploration or excavation was done. So Hun Sen visited lots of stupas and chaitya just after entering the gateway of Kashmir, and these might have been one of them. The ancient period of Kashmir history or Kashmiri history has been a topic of intense study and research in recent years. However, in these studies, North India, more specifically Kashmir or region or Jammu and Kashmir region, has received less attention, mainly because of disturbance in the valley and other things. The state also suffers lack of source material for carrying out the advanced researches. Uh, so I just want to conclude it with that the Valley of Kashmir has been meeting ground of many cultures since ancient time. O Kong, also known as Dharmadhatu, was author, scholar who in 7th century or 8th century arrived in Kashmir for higher studies. He mentioned about the existence of more than 300 viharas, stupas, and other Buddhist relics in Kashmir during his stay. So this too attests that fact that this land was prominent center of Buddhist learning and philosophy. Around first century, it was here that Mahayana Buddhism, sprang into or blossom or spread to Central Asia, China, Korea, and then Japan, Java, Sumatra, and also Vibhasha Shastra, which was written after the Fourth Buddhist Council, was written in Sanskrit. And the outcome of that, council, if I see that, uh, that was also that Sanskritization of, Buddhism was also done after the Fourth Buddhist Council, and we can find that after that, the effects of Fourth Buddhist Council and changing the Pali into Sanskrit. The after effects was there was biggest known Buddhist Sanskrit university, Sharda University was found later, and also Kashmir region is full of Buddhist heritage. Now the situation in the valley is rather peaceful. If the area is studied thoroughly and immediate exploration and excavation are carried out by competent agencies in at least a few important sites, it is possible to obtain more complete picture. Whenever it is done, the region is bound to provide clues to resolve many vital issues and the missing links in the history of Jammu and Kashmir or ancient Kashmir. Thank you very much. And these are the references if somebody wants. So